It means so much to me to be here on behalf of Plan Canada and sponsors like you who make it all possible. I've been a Plan sponsor for the last 6 years and have to say it's completely overwhelming to see how through child sponsorship, Plan has made such a lasting difference in poor communities right around the world, in the lives of men, women, and most importantly, the lives of children. But there are still so many waiting for a sponsor. I met one of them, and I want you to meet her also. A quiet, intelligent little girl named Helene. Helene is only 5, but what happens to her in the next few years will determine if she's destined to a grueling life of servitude or whether she'll escape the bonds of poverty and build a better future. It's morning, and already Helene is hard at work. She struggles as she carries a heavy load of water for the morning cooking and cleaning. Then, while her brother waits to go to school, she gathers the wood, lights the fire, and prepares his breakfast. Sadly, it's a very common scene in impoverished communities throughout the developing world. Because parents can't afford to send all of their children to school, they just send the boys, leaving the girls to take on the role of servant in their own home. As her brother leaves for school, where he's learning mathematics, reading, and writing, Helene leaves for the family's field of meager crops, where she's learning the drudgery of manual labor. If Helene could go to school, if she could get an education like her brother, she could look forward to a very different life. But she is denied that right, simply because she is a girl. Arriving at her village in Benin, West Africa, I was eager to finally meet Helene.
Bonjour. Hello. Bonjour, madame.
This is Helene.
Bonjour, Helene.
He is Norbert.
Hello, Norbert. Bonjour, Norbert. Ça va?
He is Demab.
Bonjour, madame. Ça va bien? Oui. Vous avez des beaux enfants. Vraiment, I've heard so much about you, Helene.
Helene led me inside her humble home.
So this is where you do the cooking?
Although they had next to nothing, I could see they took pride in what little they did have.
Yeah. Hello.
A little while later, I sat down with Helene to get to know her. And just like any 5-year-old girl, she loved to play.
Are you ticklish? Are you ticklish? Are you ticklish?
But play is a rare luxury in Helene's world. And soon it was time for her to follow her mother to the fields for another day of back-breaking work. Helene's mother told me that she never went to school either, so she spent her childhood working in the fields alongside her mother from the time of her earliest memory. In fact, in this impoverished country, only 23% of women and girls over 14 have learned how to read and write, a skill they must have to escape a life of poverty.
You know, I have 4 nieces, all around the same age as Helene, and it's almost impossible to imagine them doing this for a living instead of going to school. It just seems so unfair.
It's no wonder that Helene is exhausted after her long day's work in the hot African sun. It's heartbreaking to know that without help, Helene's destined to spend the rest of her life in the fields. Not only that, she's very likely to be forced into an early marriage as young as 14. And her daughters would be condemned to the same harsh life of poverty, all because she's a girl. And the saddest part is, it doesn't have to be this way.